Hi, my name is Wayne Lee. I'm also known as Daniel, also known as Leerocka. I'm a rapper, actor, a businessman, swim coach. Like I do a lot of things. I call myself a full-time hustler, legal hustle only. So yeah, I came here when I was 12. I'm originally from Indonesia. Growing up here was a bit different because I found out like the level of maturity may not match from when I was in Indonesia because I was exposed to gang and violence pretty young when I was in Indonesia, and then when I came here it was also peaceful, and I could not relate with my peers because they're still talking about Power Rangers, like Sunday or Saturday morning TVs, and I was like, oh, so I was pretty lost. And I kept to myself most of the time. I did try to relate with people by um watching wrestling, right? So earlier on during my like teen years here, I start to watch wrestling and then I realized that all my peers like wrestling. That's why I should just watch it so that I can relate to them. But beyond that, I could not like I don't know relate to them. Right, so I finally found solace in music, as especially rap, because the lyrics kind of like reflect my upbringing and I could relate to them very well, and I decided to try rap from there lah. So that's my childhood. Pretty much start writing songs when I was 12. So I would say most of it comes from my upbringing in Indonesia, right? Because it forced me to mature earlier, and then when I came here, I was just trying to adapt, but then I could not really adapt 100%. I could just try to relate, but then after a while, it get tiring trying to pretend and fit in, right? So I couldn't do that. But then when I found the hip hop community in Singapore, that's when I start to gel back with the community, right? And then because these people speak my lingo, like we love the same thing, which eventually lead me to like doing drugs because weed was so normalized in hip hop music, and I was already doing it back in Indonesia. So I was like, hey, this is nothing new for me. So yeah, but then that took a whole nother turn in itself. I started to use drug as a form to escape from reality. No, because I like stress became inevitable as you go to adulthood, right? Like bills to pay, and then you have relationship, then you got married, then you have kids, and then you try to, you know, pretend that everything is okay all the time, which is not, right? So for me to just get a minute off for myself, I decided to use drug to just, numb the stress. So that became a habit eventually. But then I got caught in 2016 lah, and I served time for it. I made a 180 turn. With 360 is like you're back to who you are, but so 180 is a complete change, right? So I decide like because during my time, when I was serving my time, right, I decided to get better instead of getting bitter. I mean, to be honest, I was very bitter, right? I was blaming everyone except for myself. Like, I was doing this, doing that. I didn't harm anyone. Like, I still provide for my kids, blah, 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 blah. I was in denial, right? However, when I start to reflect, right? Nobody asked me to do all this. But I chose to do it, and I have to answer for it, right? Because every action have a consequence, and the consequence of those action that I did all accumulate to that moment where I have to start to look in the mirror and say like, no one forced me to do all this. I did it all by myself. I should take accountability, right? And then that's when I start to read like all those self-help books. And then as cliche as it is, a lot of all these quotes from self-help books have a lot of logic behind it, right? Like one of the best quote that I like, life get better when you get better, right? So I was like, yeah, like how can I have a thousandaire mindset and expect to reach $1 million when I don't have that $1 million mindset, right? And that mindset is learn. You need to want to learn it. You need to want to acquire it, and not just acquire it, you have to implement it as well, right? Just like the best example I want to give is like exercising. We all know exercising is good for us, but how many of us are like actually doing it, right? So don't tell me like all those people who let themselves go don't know that exercising is good. They know, but why are they not healthy? Because they're not implementing that knowledge. So it's all about implementable knowledge, right? So that's when I was like, I need to start to learn to like problems, because problems is just nature's way of telling us that you don't know anything. Not anything lah. You don't know that particular solution for that particular problem. So if you start to like problem, right, you will start to want to solve it. That's when you became better, right? So when I was like, hey, I need to start to, although it's very difficult, but nothing good comes easy. So I decided to, embrace that. I decided to, like, there's a lot of things that I've learned from reading during my incarceration. So when I came out, I decided to implement it, right? So for me, I implement by just accepting everything as is, right? I did not blame the environment for not giving me a good pay because I don't have a qualification. My qualification was O-level. So I'm like, with that certification and 10 years in the military, what kind of skill set I can bring to the general public? Practically not a lot, right? So I'm like, you know what, just go out there, look for a job that's willing to hire you in the first place, right? So the first job that I did was a shoe salesman in limited edition. It's because I love shoes. If you can't tell already, right? So yeah. So for me, it's like, why not I work at something that I like? That way I wouldn't like hate my job, right? So I start as a shoe salesman at limited edition. They were only paying me 1.5k. Let's be honest, that's not enough. I have back then I mean, I still have 2 kids now. It's not like back then I have 2, now I have 1. No, so I still have 2 kids. They are with my ex-wife, but we were married when I was released. So I did tell her my plan. She didn't support me at all. She was like, go become a security guard, go stable pay. I'm like, but my passion is in music. I want to do music. She was not supportive. So it was an uphill battle with her. So became a shoe salesman, and then realized I need more money because I have a then wife, 2 kids, and she already hired a maid because she was working when I was incarcerated. So someone need to take care of the kids. So understandable, right? So after a month of working there, I found out about acting from a friend. So a friend of mine was like, hey, why not try acting? It's the same skill set with rap. I'm like, how? I didn't connect the dot. He was like, just imagine this. In rap, right, when you do an MV, what were you doing? Acting in front of a camera, like lip syncing your lyrics, right? So you have to remember your lyrics. So now, acting is like acting in front of a camera, remembering lyrics, but now it's lines. I'm like, wait a minute, that makes sense, So I'm like, let's give it a try. So I start to become an actor there, but I started as a background extra. So like, and as time goes by, like I start to like the whole like acting thing. I got offered to do 1 or 2 words to 1 line, 2 line, to eventually, like in 2018, I got my first like big break in acting in Crime Watch. So I have a whole script. I'm like, hey, I finally get the whole script, So yeah, it was fun. So I did not shy away from any suggestion, I would say. So it's like, why not do this? Okay, why not do that? Okay. So from working in a shoe store to acting, and then eventually quit limited edition, and I become a full-time part-timer. So I start waitering in 6 different hotels, become a part-time shoe salesman, and then whenever I have an acting gig or a music gig, I just not book a shift. Because as a part-timer, you're quite flexible, right? So during those time, I found out about Food Panda from one of my colleagues in the hotel. So I'm like, you can earn a lot, man, right? So he was like, yeah, you can earn up to, back then. Now I'm not sure. Back then you can earn up to $200 to $300 per day. I'm like, wow, if I do that for 10 days, it's like 2,000 or 3,000. It's not bad. So I start to join Foodpanda, and then I start riding for them. Shout out to Foodpanda. And then, and then during that time, I met one of my, I think, colleague from NDU, like because I was a naval diver for 10 years. And he was like, hey, I'm starting my own swim school. Want to be my swim instructor? I'm like, swimming instructor earn a lot, man. Tell me more about it. They was like, oh yeah, no, from one swim session you can earn 50 up to $90. Wait, what? Per session? So yeah. So imagine one day you have just 2 session or 3 session. That's 100 plus or 200 plus. Oh yeah, sign me up. So so one thing led to another, and then from swimming, I met someone that gave me an opportunity to be a sales manager for a kombucha company. I don't even know what is kombucha. So for me, it's like, why? Oh, because I like how you think. I like how you problem solve. Because they were struggling with production. So I start by providing my service. I said, I'm not helping you because you're paying me well. It's $12 an hour. I could earn much more as a swimming instructor or food panda, but your husband has been complaining to me for the past 3 weeks. I cannot. If I don't solve problem, I will die. So let me try to solve your problem for you, right? So I went there, solved their production issue, solved their I think recruitment issue as well, right? Eventually, it's like we have another issue, sales issue. Within these 2 months, you already help us solve this. Why not you join us full time as our sales manager? I'm so used to all this freelancing, right? I reject them 3 times, by the way. The first one I said, I caught swimming, right? I get to know you from your husband, right? I can't just give up on my clients. It's okay. Whenever the day you have swimming, you just work until, like, I don't need you to work from 9 to 5. So for example, my weekday swimming client usually start at 5, 4:30. So on the day you have, just work 9 to 3, then go and teach your swimming. Really? You allow me to do that? Like, yeah. Okay, let me think about it. Went home, tried to find an excuse to reject that job. Second day I came back, I'm a freelance, like other than that, I also do rap, I also do acting. Your annual leave is not enough to cover all those days, right? Then it's like, it's okay. Those days you have, just take no pay leave. You're being paid for that anyway, right? Yeah. So we cool. You can take as much no pay leave as you want, as long as you're being paid for that. I just need you to solve this sales issue. Really, you need me that bad? I'm like, yeah. Just tell me when you're ready. I'm like, okay. Went back the 3rd time. I said, I'm so accustomed to a certain number of salary a month because that's how much I make on freelancing. So I don't think you can match that. Try us. Like, huh? Really? Yeah, try us. Give us a number so we can work with it. Like, you allow me to do all this and you still... That's when I talked to my wife about it. She was like, take it, you idiot. Okay. I took it, and within a year I grew the business to 100% productivity, because when I went in, they have the capacity to brew 10,000 liter, but they were only doing 4,000, right? When I went in, that was the numbers. When I left a year later, they are brewing 10,000 liter per month, and their sales grew to 130%. I was very satisfied. So I was like, oh shit, promotion, right? Yeah, it didn't happen. It was like, you help us. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Bye bye. I'm like, huh? I'm doing all this it's for my kids, right? Because I know how my ex-wife will like raise them, and I want to give them an alternative to see, right? Hey, you don't have to do the traditional route, right? I messed up, I got incarcerated for it. I started at 30, right? And for the past 10 years, right? Like I would say from, it's not even 10 years, 2017 until now, right? It's 7 years.
My math is really bad.
Likewise. So like for the past those like for how many, this is what I've achieved, right? And I'm still trying to achieve more. I'm still trying to grow, So I want them to see that it's okay, to just try, because no one fail by giving. No one succeed by giving up. You know what I mean? So if you fail, learn from it, understand why you fail, and then try to work around it.
I love that. It's a really inspiring story. I think the Singaporeans, we don't like to take risks.
Most of us don't.
Yeah.
How we are brought up, right? I think society, culture, and I would say generational trauma is being brought down from one generation to another generation. So they thought like the previous generation's mantra is this, it would work with the next generation. But as you can see how fast technology evolve, we need to evolve as well. Like, who would know? Like who would have guessed, right? Like now we can have esport athlete. They are being paid millions of dollars to play game. If you tell that to your parents 9 years ago, I wanna, play games and get paid. They're like, are you crazy? You what? No lah, become doctor, become lawyer, or something like that, right? When you feel like you have done your best and you have achieved what you have achieved, I think you are successful. Because you don't have to like conform to other people's standard. Because the standard is set by self. So if you set a goal and you have achieved that goal, be proud of it, celebrate it. That is a success, right? So for me, you don't have to let other people tell you that you are successful. If you deem that you have done enough to be successful, celebrate it. Pop your own champagne. You don't have to, wait for others to do it for you.
I love it. Thank you very much.
Always welcome.